1 week later, and Cara Maria is already back on top. Plus, a genuine pool party, thank you. TJ clearly loves Cam. Part 2 of Laurel's master plan is enacted, and then she doesn't go through with it and leaves Cam completely out to dry. It's the challenge. All Stars 4, Episode 9 recap coming up right now. What up, my fellow challenge lovers? Welcome to the Challenge Historian, where we dive deep into all things MTV's The Challenge, past, present, or future. It's happening in the Challenge universe. We are here to document it. I am your host and dedicated Challenge Historian, Jacob Hollabaugh. Thank you so very, very much for being here with me on this Wednesday, this wonderful Wednesday, to discuss episode number 9 of All Stars 4. Thankfully, not the penultimate episode of the season. It seems very clear now that this is going to be a 12 episode run, so we will have 3 more wonderful, probably wonderful episodes to discuss after this one, but we're here today on the 29th to discuss all things episode 9. It was a really good one. It definitely, continues on the major storylines of the season, but we get a little bit of the kind of end of half of the major storyline of the season. Lots of Cara Maria talk, of course, is coming here. Before we dive in, quick programming reminders. First one just earlier this morning, so it will be posted. If you're listening to this, it will have been posted a few hours prior. The Survivor finale and season awards podcast was posted. Me and Tony broke down the entire finale from last week and then handed out awards for the full season. And man, the Survivor drama just never seems to stop with this cast online. So Survivor fans out there, we're definitely getting a lot of content, a lot of entertainment. Make sure you go tap into that final episode of the season covering the finale. And then there may be a third podcast within 24 hours here on this feed, because last weekend, a group of challengers departed to go film All Stars 5. And I'm still waiting to record the cast reaction podcast, because it doesn't seem to be 100% locked in exactly who is on the cast, and we might be missing a person or here. So I'm going to continue to keep monitoring that situation, check today, but if we haven't had a final update, then I'm just going to say screw it and go with the list we've currently got and get that podcast out. So it may even exist by the time you're listening to this. But certainly within 24 to 48 hours at most after this recording, I will be recording that All Stars 5 reaction. So those are coming. And then, of course, we are going to hit here just All Stars 4 coverage for 3 more weeks. There's a chance we're in a full-blown off season 3 weeks from now. I will do my best to get some other challenge-related content up and ready in the hopper for when that time comes. But for today, All Stars 4, Episode 9. Without further ado, same agenda as always. Walk through the episode, awards, power rankings, and predictions. Here we go. We start at the house, but we start with a pool party. I want to have a party to celebrate that we got to witness and watch at least a little bit of an actual genuine pool party in the challenge house. Loved every bit of it. Please give us more. Thank you for showing us this one. Thank you for showing us fun. Like, nothing in this segment of the show has anything to do with the game, and it's all great. It probably would have been my favorite part of the episode if the big moment at the end when Laurel doesn't go in wasn't a part of this, and that was all great and everything about it. So it could have easily been my favorite part of the episode. Nothing to do with the game. Everything to just do with they're having fun. They're having real life conversations as we see Adam and Avery. And it's just fantastic. The Cam Leroy moment is fantastic. Derek and Ryan are fantastic. Just getting to see everyone floating around, having a good time, having some drinks in the pool. All of it is great. The more of it you can show to us, the better. And the happier we, the fans, will be. Then, and speaking of that, we referenced Avery and Adam. Avery's just so delightful. Just love every bit. Love getting to hear the backstory that I either didn't know from prior times on the challenge or maybe wasn't remembering, because there's a lot of folks to keep track of. I don't really remember most of these people's stories, in all honesty, but delightful backstory to get all of her reasons for playing, supporting the family. It's just amazing. She's delightful. She's wonderful. And either the romance between her and Adam has actually not started, the spark hasn't been lit, or however, that was a poor use of that analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Either it hasn't actually started to happen, or they're just slow playing the crap out of this thing and showing it to us, and just like, we got too much Cara, Laurel, Nicole, Cam situation going on. We don't even need to use this yet. Let's save it. I don't know, but we do know those two lovebirds end up being lovebirds and being together here, current day, present day. So maybe this was the first. We'll be able to look back on this kind of being one of the first scenes showing us that. Maybe not. We shall see. We then get Cara versus Nicole. Speaking of, the dominant storyline of the episode is quickly back to storyline A, plot point A, and it then stays on that plot point the rest of the episode. Cara versus Nicole round, I don't know, like 37. I don't know how many times. Where do we at? This is actually like kind of round 3 or 4, but just continuing from last week's episode. Cara, Steve and Cara having a conversation out in the weight room, as you do, and Steve notes that there is an anti-Cara movement in the house that has more. It's more than just people are scared of going against you in the final. Everyone's kind of like, stay away from her, which is interesting. I'm glad someone's like telling it to her face, and I'm glad that she, unlike my prediction, has more than just Ace in the house that she's willing to talk to or that wants to hang out and be friends with her. But it's been odd the last week or two in the out in the real world, the podcast world, in the social media world. We've gotten some different illusions made. Like, the big one was, there was a clip from Challenge Mania of Adam going around, and I will admit I have not went and listened to the full extent of the interview, and so I don't know if more context was given. But the clip that was like put out was Adam kind of alluding to, without saying anything specific, of like, there's more reasons to everyone kind of being over Cara in the house than just, we don't want to go against her in a final. That's part of it, but there's more than just that. And there's a few other people who have made, cast members who have made those kinds of allusions. I still have not checked in on, I don't know if Cam and Leroy did their Patreon or not. I thought maybe at the beginning of the season they announced they were going to do one. If anyone's got any, you should be listening to this cast member Patreon or whatnot, leave it in the comments below on YouTube, DM me on Instagram, let me know. But it seems like there is more going on, maybe, than we're seeing. If anything, like, if I were to guess, it seems like maybe there is some more, or just whether there's a lot of it, or they're just being taken the wrong way, of like Cara just being overly confident in people, that them in their heads, taking that as like, this is annoying or this is too much. Maybe because I would assume production is pretty honed in on Cara Maria and the whole comeback story and everything else here. Maybe it wasn't even anything Cara did. It was like, we just see the cameras just follow her around. They always want us to talk about her in the confessionals. Like, it feels like they're just doing this whole season is just about Cara, and like, it's not. It's more than that, and maybe that rubbed them the wrong way. And Cara didn't actually like do any of it herself. I don't know. It seems like there's more than just purely, we don't want to face her in a final, which I appreciate that all of them at least do find a way to say at some point, like, yes, this also mostly has to do, or has a lot to do, with not wanting to face her in a final, because I wouldn't want to face her in a final either. But then Nicole's like, you're also not allowed to talk to Steve now. You're not allowed to talk to Steve. She sees that the two of them are talking. She literally borderline is seething in the other room, and then decides, I got to walk out here and tell Steve, don't talk to Cara, and get in an argument with Cara. And she's like, Cara's just literally talking to Steve. It's about like, why does everyone hate me? But it isn't like super just about Nicole or something, where you overhear her bashing you, so you go confront. It seems a little like a little bit of a stretch. Like, Nicole is kind of clearly showing throughout this episode that the actual loose cannon of this trio of women that have been the focus of the last couple of episodes, of Laurel and Nicole and Cara, the loose cannon among them, the true loose cannon among them, is Nicole, who may, have the most to do to kind of just get over, have some different perspectives to adjust her mindset to. And Flora later does stand up for Nicole, being called, Cara calls her an idiot when she's not around, and not nice to do, I guess, but in the world of the challenge, pretty modest to be fair. But Flora doesn't like it. Flora stands up for Nicole, and I just am having so much fun that Flora is just in this house, and just her job all season is like just be around, and either in person or via confessional you're just going to kind of give your opinions and react to everything. That's what we're here for, and it's great. Just getting her commentary off all season long. I'm here for it. It's fun. Laurel then makes the big threat. Flora fills Laurel in that, hey, Cara, not only did they have this argument, but then Cara came in and was calling Nicole an idiot and dumb. Laurel doesn't like that. Laurel is ready to enact the second part of her plan that she hatched last week, which was first, take Cara star, second, take Cara out. She makes the big threat via confessional, big monologue, following up on last week's bravado, bringing the bravado this week. It's all right there. It's building and building. And we'll obviously talk about the end of this later. But before we do, the final thing on this particular moment is I watched this whole monologue. It goes to the commercial. We're headed to a daily challenge. And I just couldn't help but think to myself, if Laurel, what would Laurel say if she watched someone else speak with the confidence and bravado that Laurel speaks with? Like if someone else, not Laurel, was the one giving this confessional and having this attitude towards someone else in the house, and everything else was just word for word the exact same. It was just someone else was saying it and Laurel was watching it. What would Laurel think about Laurel's, opinions in this situation? I think it would be a fascinating study. I'm pretty confident that she would not like that person very much, or would then have a similar thing to say immediately back to that person. So, yeah, Laurel's making the big threats, but first, someone has to win the daily challenge, so that's where we head. They've come up with a fantastic game. Loved the daily challenge. Big round of applause for the production team. We've got a great mix of like, they're keeping the heights over water, which is, bread and butter challenge, but making it a proper mixture of difficulty and safety. I always say, like, I don't know who in the audience is super into like the bad falls and potential injuries. I don't know that it's actually that interesting. It isn't to me. It doesn't seem like it would be that many people. So this was a great mixture of difficulty and safety, keeping the heights over water element, making it a nice physical to puzzle ratio here. No room for chicanery of like teams helping each other, doing anything. They nailed this one. Absolutely nailed this one. One small note as a potential way to just increase it even more is keep these style challenges. Absolutely keep these style challenges coming. Loving it. Again, I think it was basically pitch perfect. But you do notice that another classic challenge element was at play here, which was going second was a huge advantage. Getting to watch and just kind of more time to strategize and think it through and kind of have the time in your back of your head of how quickly you need to go. All of it. Big advantage, which I'm totally fine with. But that challenge staple means maybe we bring back another challenge staple. Maybe we let the winners of the last daily challenge pick the order and give out that advantage. Maybe we add that little even last bit, call back to seasons of old back in there. I would love to see that. But 10 out of 10 as far as the design of this challenge and execution of this challenge. All 4 people in the first heat get the bottom 4. There's 7 teams competing, 4 in first heat, 3 in the second. The 3 in the second heat get first, second, and third. Kind of insane, honestly. It makes sense, mostly given the pairs. If you show me the pairs in advance, I'm like, okay, I think I can kind of see this lineup of how they finish, how coming in that, other than Cam not, doing it. I could kind of see the results as they are. It all makes sense. Cara and Ace were the only one like not able to get in the top 3 is a little bit surprising, but those top 3 teams were good. And again, going second definitely gave them a little bit of a boost and an advantage. And the only real shocker is that Cam doesn't jump and Cam quits. And it should be noted, TJ doesn't give them a hard time. We already knew, and we just know TJ loves Leroy and he loves Cam. He has favorites, and I'm all for him having favorites, and we're confident Leroy and Cam are in his favorites group. And so, he goes easy. And by goes easy, doesn't really say much, at least that we see. Maybe he did, and we didn't get to see any of it. Now, Cam not jumping, in some ways you could say, did this cost her game? and ultimately maybe her and Leroy, one of them winning, because as I've talked about last week, the two of them in a final together is such a massive advantage in a potential 6-person final where only one person wins. But the postpartum anxiety, definitely quality excuse. Totally buy, that not only would you maybe don't want to jump off that in any given circumstance, but right off coming off the baby, that anxiety is just easily brought up. And just the idea of like, I was pregnant very, very recently. And like the idea of, you wouldn't ever jump off something like this when you're pregnant. And so you still maybe have some of that in your head. Obviously, I have no experience or never will with being pregnant or anything that comes with that. But I thought this was a legit excuse from her. But I also do have to say, this was a controlled jump as far as like she was allowed to just jump off the side to let Leroy go, as we saw, I think at least one other team did. So it's a controlled jump, not like you're going to fall in some weird way. And it wasn't that high as far as like in challenge terms of how high they're willing to put a platform over water. So I was very surprised, but I agreed with TJ not, dogging her too much really at all over giving up and quitting. Ultimately, though, if she would have done it, as far as the whole like, did she lose her game right here and there by quitting this? If she goes the route of like, all right, I'll just jump off the side as fast as I can, I'll let Leroy do the 4 or 5 jumps, whatever it takes to get the puzzle down. They're still in the bottom 4. Their entire heat got the bottom 4 positions. And so they would have had to beat Cara and Ace. Not only Cara and Ace win their heat, but like do way better than the best person in their heat did. And I don't think with one person not getting the ball. So I don't think she, by them quitting, didn't do anything other than just she ended up in the bottom group in a different route than jumping off of and ending up in the bottom group anyways would have happened. Back at the house, then, we've got basically just nominations. The only thing is just the decision of who we're going to put in. And Nicole and Laurel's anti-Cara feelings just completely blow the game for Laurel. Potentially, maybe the one more chance that she's going to get, she will somehow get that star. Maybe they'll be giving more than the one more chance we expect the women to have to get a star. I don't know. But their feelings, their anti-Cara, we need her out of here feelings, completely blow it for Laurel, because this is so easy. This is so easy. It's just sitting there. Veronica versus Flora, respectfully. Love both of them. Laurel replaces Veronica, no matter what the game is. Easy W against Flora. It's just an easy W against Flora, and then you tell Veronica in advance, hey, this is what I'm going to do. You versus Flora. If you really want, like, I'll replace Flora, and you can try to play me for your star. Otherwise, I'm going to replace you. I'm going to beat Flora, and then I am going to take your star because I'm not going to take Nicole's, obviously, and Cam really helped. We've been working together on this whole thing, so I'm not going to take hers after last week, so I'm going to take yours. You just tell her in advance. Very little blowback probably comes of that. It's easy. It's obvious. It's perfect. It's a walk in the park. Laurel won the daily challenge. Here's your star. We're just going to put it on a silver platter for you. No problem at all. But she wants Cara, or maybe secretly wants just Cara or Cam, one of them, to go. And maybe, was never all that gung-ho about going in and replacing one of them. And that was just kind of a cover. I don't know. It's hard to say. But it's just sitting right there to just put in Veronica and Flora. Jay, Nicole, Adam, and Avery, very willing to do whatever they want. Obviously Jay and Nicole in there can at least tie the vote, even if for some reason Adam and Avery, like, it has to be Cara versus Cam, which I don't think they would have necessarily done. I think they would have kind of just allowed whatever to happen. And so, yeah, it's just sitting there, but they just want Cara so bad. And Jay is trying his best. Jay is trying his best to talk sense into Nicole. So shout out to him. I mean, he's talking complete logical, smart game the entire time. He is being an amazing friend and ally, alliance member in this, moment of like, we can take this vote you just said out loud back. Like, we want to think about this one more time. Like, there's a way for you to be completely safe and your girl to get her star and Cara Maria to not have one. Is that not what we want? And we're leaving it up for chance here if we don't. And yeah, good Lord. Cara Maria's idiot comments. by the end feel pretty deserved. By the end of the episode, they do feel a little deserved because this was such an easy decision and they just completely went the other way. And obviously, it ultimately, based on some more decisions we're about to talk about, backfired in epic fashion. Once at the arena, it it felt, it was in the air. They gave us the couple confessionals to say to kind of leave us, like, is Laurel really going to do this? And then we walk in, we see the game, we see Laurel's face as she studies it the moment they walk in, and we're kind of, I'm like, okay, some like puddles, there's a cage, there's balls, there's, they're on their own track, so it's not like physical headbanger, but it does look like, they're gonna have to move whatever they're doing. It's physical, move around, it's athletic, it's not just like a puzzle. And so I'm thinking, okay, maybe it feels like, she got mostly what she could have asked for, because again, they're not really giving headbangers this season. And ultimately, she says no. She says she hears the game, hears it explained. Cara's sitting there waiting for Laurel to walk down. Cam's sitting there expecting Laurel to walk down as they agreed upon. And Laurel says no. And if her thought process this whole time, and in some of those confessionals, pending if they filmed those before or after this all happened, if you're looking for a true headbanger, where your size and ferocity, which is what makes Laurel the best female ever in the history of elimination, she's just the best ever, period, when it comes to the headbanger eliminations, because she just has such a size, strength, ferocity, tenacity advantage over everyone else. Like, there's just no one's going to beat her in maybe hall brawl's slightly different, but like balls in, pole wrestle, some sort of wrestling situations, anything where I get to put my hands on you. Laurel's winning that over and over and over again, even against beasts like Cara Maria. And so if her whole thing was like, they're going to give me one of those and I'm going to get to go in there and whoop Cara's butt and, shut her up and shut everyone up, that wouldn't have proved anything. You've beaten Cara in hall brawl, or not hall brawl, excuse me, balls in before. You beat her in the climbing thing when she had a broken hand before, okay? If they would have given you pole wrestle or something, it really wouldn't have proven all that much as far as what it felt like Laurel was going for here. What would prove a lot is if they give you a toss-up elimination and you're like, yeah, I'll take my basically 50-50 odds and I'll go in there and I'll beat her and I'll prove, like, knock her down a half a peg here of like, you gotta have a little more respect for your competitors or whatever she's in her head, concerned with about Cara's, state of mind or confidence level in this game or anything else. And they gave her a toss-up, and as they all have been toss-ups. And yes, her height was the one thing that she never says, but like, her height would probably hurt her a little in this. It's, getting underneath that cage and like staying, like, she's a little more cramped. I don't know how deep that those mud puddles were, but it seemed like taller would be probably worse in this situation. But ultimately, it's a 50-50 toss-up. Go beat Cara at something that doesn't super favor either of you, and prove it. Settle this thing once and for all in a way. They gave you the thing to do that, to have us give like a fair, whoever wins this is just better at these things, because it's kind of a toss-up. Like, it's physical, but it takes a little bit of strategy and composure. And here we go. And she says no, and the look on Cara's face is priceless. The look on Cam's face is priceless. Obviously, very different looks for both of them. Cara super confident. Cam, it's not a lack of confidence, but it is a complete confusion of like, excuse me, like, what? You're supposed to come down here right now. What did we agree to? Like, I don't even understand how you're doing this. Like, this is on television, right? That everyone's going to get to give their opinions about what you just did, and they're not going to be good, right? Like, just so much happening on both of their faces. What a moment all around for, these three to culminate like this. And so we get Cara versus Cam, and Cara has slightly better focus and strategy and beats Cam. It's a pretty good fight, but simple as that. Cara, slightly better focus. They honed in on it right from the start, and it was kind of set up. We kind of knew what was going to happen the moment they give us the wide shot, and they give the Cara's confessional of, I'm going to get all 10 balls all the way down. Leroy or Cam's confessional about like, oh, she missed the one, left the one all the way at the end as she started taking the balls out. And it was like, this is, where, yes, the scoreboard's going to go 4-0, and then suddenly Cara wins 10-8. but you could kind of just see it happening the whole way. Just a little bit better focus, a little bit better strategy. Otherwise, they were pretty much neck and neck. And Cara beats Cam. This one was significantly better than Cara versus Rachel. So there's that. But it still fell a little bit flat to me. But most of that was just like the moment of Laurel saying no, just kind of then overshadows the pretty straightforward and just, small victory Cara has here. And so it's really more just the come down from like, holy shit, Laurel didn't do it, to then watching it. But, obviously, if you said before the season, we're going to get Cara versus Rachel and Cara versus Cam in elimination, we'd all be extraordinarily excited. And I feel like this one mostly lived up to the excitement. Obviously, a physical one would always be super interesting between two physically dominant people in this game. But, they're not going to give us pretty much any of those. Although I do think there could maybe be a pole wrestle at the very end in our future, the final double elimination 2 episodes from now. Maybe there could be a pole wrestle of like, you really, really got to earn it here. But Cam and Leroy combined could have been a hella hard team to beat in the final. Could have been. But instead, she goes home, and somehow, one episode later, only one episode, because they went back-to-back female eliminations. One episode later, Cara is right back in pole position. She looked dead to rights at the end of last week. Everything had gone against her. And now suddenly the whole house is going to look at Laurel a little bit different. Cam's not there. Cara has a star, and she's back in the lead. Let's hand out some hardware, starting with best quote. I really enjoyed the back and forth between Leroy and Cam at the beginning with some form, I'm paraphrasing slightly, but we might mess around and give Kingston a little sister. And then Cam responding with, oh, we're definitely going to do that. I was just kind of kidding. I ain't kidding. Like, love that. Obviously, they did go home and, mess around a little bit and give Kingston a sibling. I'm forgetful right now if sister, brother, but a sibling for Kingston has now happened. Again, this all happened over a year and a half ago. So a lot has occurred in that timeline, including a new child and a sibling for Kingston. And then, I've got to give it up. Nicole, during Cara and Nicole's back and forth, and we get the like, keep my name out of your mouth, and Cara doing the childish but antagonizing and kind of funny, just Nicole, just saying her name over and over. And there's I think Cara says something of like, I might choke on your name, I'll say it so many times or whatever. And Nicole does give a pretty fire comeback of, you better not choke because no one here likes you enough to give you CPR, which just admittedly is just it's really funny and really a really good burn. So hats off to Nicole for that. And then apologies to Cara, Laurel, Derek, Ryan, and Jay, who I all think at some point had a confessional that I was like, I should write that down for a good quote, and then I just didn't take good enough notes. So sorry to them. I'm gonna give best quote to Leroy because they did actually mess around and give Kingston a sibling after the fact. So that's fun. Best moment. All parts of the pool party were great. The first heat the struggle session that was the first heat in Jay and Nicole and everyone else's commentary on like, these guys are just really, really not doing a very good job here in the first heat. It was pretty comical and fun. And then, of course, the moment of the episode, though, is Laurel says no. Laurel says no, thank you. And Cara's response to that, plus Cara, when Leroy says, you got this, babe, and Cara gives the thanks, babe, and like over the shoulder and turns to Cam, is like, I'm just going to imagine Leroy's cheering for me. Really great. Cara's performance is just fantastic. I know that I feel like it all makes sense now that she had kind of warmed up to putting on a show in the elimination ring via your personality and your words more than the games themselves. Was just a big warm up for when she, went on then and did the mercenary appearance on season 39 that we then obviously saw on television before, even though it took place after. It all makes sense now, but Laurel saying no, biggest moment, maybe the biggest moment of the season, definitely a contender for the end of season award. Best strategy, I guess Jay, because he spoke nothing but facts on multiple occasions to try to convince Nicole and by proxy Laurel to do the easy, smart thing, and they chose not to, and somehow instead ended up with no star for Laurel and a star back for Cara, and their biggest ally as far as who has sway in this house, Cam, now gone. So all backfired, but Jay was speaking facts, so best strategy to him. worst strategy to Laurel and Nicole. MVP of the episode, Ace just continues to be the best. So shout out to Ace. I have a little mea culpa of sort. I was not excited for Derek on this season. I think I said that as much on the preseason podcast preview of this season. And he deserves for me to say, I wish we were getting more of him now, because we get these little small dashes of him and Ryan. We're getting a little, an extra dash of Ryan here and there. But every time, like, them at the pool party, I was like, I would like a little bit more. So, mea culpa to Derek, who is exceeding expectation for me. And I'm actually sitting here like, I would like a little more. This storyline is fantastic over here, these 3 or 4 women, but like, can I talk to the rest of the house? Can I see what's going on with them? So Ace and Derek get nominations, but Nicole and Laurel do too. Cam does as well. But for the second week in a row, our MVP, of course, is Cara Maria. Power rankings now, and things change up again. I said last week we bumped Cara down, and I said until she got her star back, she had to stay down there. But she got her star back, ladies and gentlemen, and guess what? That means she's back at the top of the list, because she would be my pick if everyone left runs a final right now, and she has a star. And in my mind, I'm thinking next episode will be a men's elimination and chance for a star. And then there'll be one more where there's probably a double, and both the men and women get a chance at a star. Maybe my hope and kind of wish of a bonus star being thrown in there. We could take 8 to a final versus 6. So if I was somehow right about that and they did that, then there would be 2 chances left for women to get a star and 3 for men. Otherwise, in reality, there's more than likely 2 chances for the men, 1 single chance for the women left to get a star. And so that definitely influences this list, as star holders deserve to be near the top of it. So Cara 1, Leroy remains 2, bumps down to 2. Adam maintains his position, stays or bumps to 3 because Cara passed him, but Cara, Leroy, Adam, and Nicole in 4th. And then I moved Jay up slightly because I just feel like, we'll talk predictions in a minute though, I feel like Jay is going to find his way to get Steve's star. I feel like Steve is the star most susceptible on the men's side, and I feel like Jay is the most likely to get it. So I've got him there, and then Derek. Those two, I feel like those two are going to be the ones vying for Steve's star versus Steve trying to get it back. So those 3 kind of end up in a group with Laurel there, right there with them. She falls a touch here. And then Ryan, Avery, Ace, 9, 10, and 11. And Veronica Flora at the back. Feelings haven't changed as far as their chances of winning a final if they get there. I know Veronica's a star holder, but it is what it is. And Ace has to kind of be at the bottom of the list too, because it feels like he just isn't that interested in getting a star. He's just like, I'm here to hang out and have a good time and help Cara Maria, because everyone's kind of being mean to her and I don't like it. And I love that for Ace. I love that for him. But when we talk predictions, I do have an Ace related prediction. I think there's a small chance that Cara could end up in an elimination again by people wanting to get her out. And that if she's got a star and wins another elimination, she would have a star to give and could give a star to Ace. So big, bold prediction that I'm dying to see happen because I love the 2 of them. It would be amazing if Cara was forced into another elimination, won, and got to give Ace a star to run the final together. So that's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2 is that I am sticking by my prediction from last week when I predicted Jay would get the next men's star, which I thought would happen in this episode, and it did not. And so next episode is going to be a men's elimination and chance for a star, and I am predicting that Jay will get his hands on one. He has everyone in the house basically, working with him. He has done an admirable job of somehow remaining in alliance and friends with both Cara and Nicole at the same time here. And so he's got all factions of the house kind of in lockstep of like, let's help our guy out. And I think he's ready to go get that star. And yeah, so those are the 2 big predictions. Jay gets the next men's star. And then after that, not even for next week, 2 weeks maybe down the road, I think Cara gets thrown back into one final elimination and wins it and gets to give a star over to her buddy Ace. So those are predictions. That's episode 9. Still can't believe Laurel didn't go in there. Still can't believe it. We needed that. We needed that showdown. It would have been so great. But you know what's going to be amazing? What if we get Laurel versus Cara in the final women's limb? I don't think we will, because you'd obviously assume Avery certainly is going to be like, excuse me, like I'm getting in there. I get to get a shot. Laurel's going to want to be in there and get a shot. Flora, I guess, is going to want to be in there and get a shot. So, everyone's going to want, I doubt they're going to give a current star holder a shot at another one, but you never know. So it could be amazing if, what if Cara went Rachel, Cam, Laurel as three times? That'd be pretty insane. But whatever happens, we'll be here to cover it every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks for the end of the season, and hopefully some other challenge related content coming your way. Survivor fans, go check out finale recap. Challenge fans, obviously, again, check back in the next 24 to 48 hours, and All Stars 5 cast reactions will be out once those are somewhat, if not fully solidified, of who is there. The current list is just a lot more women than men, so there's either some people missing or they're doing something they've never done before. I don't know, but we'll talk about it very, very soon. So follow, subscribe, rate, review, all the good things. DMs on Instagram are open. Love you all. Thanks for being here. Talk to you sometime very soon, probably. Peace.